The college football experience, UTEP Miners 2022 season preview episode on the Sports Gambling Podcast Networks, presented by WinBet. Bet $100 at WinBet and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/winbet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today.
This is Mike Leach, head football coach at Mississippi State, and you're listening to SGPN. Let it ride.
Yes, yes, yes. Woo-wee. Welcome to the college football experience, UTEP Miners 2022 season preview episode. My name is Kobe Swing It Database Dad, aka Pick Dundee. That's not a pick. This is a pick.
He was raised in the land down under, where a man thinks on his feet, speaks with his fists, and lives by his wits.
When Dundee happened, he was a superstar.
I smoke and I drink and I don't have stress and I'm healthy.
Oh, yes! I love what UTEP's doing. Shout out to the Miners. Shout out to Dana Dimel coming off of a bowl season. Look, I mean, they had some tough years for a little bit there, but
it's easy to see a tide turn.
I think we saw that tide turn last year. They arrived a little ahead of schedule, and let's just get into it. This is the UTEP Miners. Yes. Look, they might have had some tough seasons before. I mean, but you go back to the 30s. They had some success in 37, right? You go back to the 40s, 48 and 49, followed by 50 good seasons in 53 and 54, or really all the way up to 57. Then in the 60s, I mean, they had some winning seasons. Now they hit some tough times. They hit some tough times in the 1970s, right? So, okay. One winning season in 70, and then they hit some really tough times. All the way into 88. In 1988. They went 10 games. 10 games, yes. And then they hit some rough times again. But then in the early 2000s, Mike Price, they landed Mike Price, remember, from Washington State and Alabama. They get Mike Price. He had 2 8-4 seasons in 04 and 05. Got him to a bowl in 2010, even though they lost. And then Sean Klugler took them to a bowl in 2014. And then they hadn't had a losing season since 14. But last year, Dana Dimel had a 7-5 regular season and just a 7-point loss in the bowl game. Shout out to this rich program. And I think, you know, El Paso's a gigantic city. NIL's a thing. Could they become better? I mean, NIL, this is a new day and age for college football. Let's go. Let's invest. Texas loves football. It's a big fucking city. Let's go. I love the Sun Bowl. They have one of the best stadiums in college football. Absolutely awesome stadium. You can go back to the days of when West Virginia and Oklahoma State played in the Sun Bowl and it was snowing there. One of the coolest looking stadiums in all of college football. I love what they have going on in El Paso. Can they build on it? Can they build on that 7-6 season? I think they might. And look, so if you're not watching, subscribe on YouTube, youtube.com/the college experience. Also remember to subscribe to the college basketball experience, because I like what UTEP's been doing there. But yeah, subscribe to the college football experience. And I think one of the things that's very interesting to me is we did a Conference USA preview the other day. Me and NC Nick, the season preview for the Conference USA is out there. And I'll be honest, I hadn't done UTEP yet. I did do some quick looking ahead, and I know that they lost Jacob Cowing, their star wideout. And I thought, okay, they're due for a regression after such a good season last year. But then I was really diving in today for this episode, put about a couple hours into following up on what is going on in El Paso and what I should project from this season. I think I miscalculated with them on that Conference USA preview. I think they might be better. They might be the team that emerges. So let's get into it, folks. Before we get into it, I want to tell you though that the college football experience UTEP Miners 2022 season preview episodes brought to you by WinBet. Yes, bet $100 at WinBet and get $100 free bet. Head over to sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WinBet. That's sportsgamblingpodcast.com/WYNNBET to claim your free bet today. We're also brought to you by Odds Trader. Odds Trader is a place to compare odds from all the major sports books. You can also compare the different sign-up codes and promo codes from sportsbook to sportsbook to assure that you get the best deal. The app provides player stats, key game stats, injury reports, projected game day weather for bettors who make the most informed bets possible. And what I love is it has a bet tracker. You can track all your bets because you get me in the winter months. Shit, I'm betting on like 7 different sports on the same day. It organizes it for you. All right, go to oddstrader.com/Blue Wire. That's OddsTrader, the #1 site for all your game day bets. All right, let's hop into this because Dana Dimel. Look, I know you look at the record and say he's 12-33 in 4 years. He's 42-72 overall. How's this guy coaching? Nah, you got to understand where he's been and what he's done. And he inherited a program that was a mess. So he's kind of got this program heading in the right trajectory. And this guy, former Bill Snyder guy, played at K-State, coached with Coach Snyder at K-State. And when he went to Wyoming, he had great success in the late 90s. Went to the Wyoming Cowboys with 7-6, 8-3, and 7-4, and then he left for the Houston Cougars job. The Houston Cougars job, things didn't work out the way he wanted. 3-8 year 1, 0-11 year 2 at Houston, which is tough, and then a 5-7 season. Almost made a bowl, but they canned him. So he struggled in Houston. That can just happen. Sometimes you recruit the wrong guy, or it just. Things can happen. It gets funky for a little bit. He walks into the UTEP job, which was a mess. Goes 1-11, follows it with 1-11. Then the COVID year happens. They're 3-5 in the COVID year, and then last year 7-5 in the regular season. It is easy to see a tide turn. I'm excited. All right, tink. Let's go Miners. I think I'm excited to see if he can continue the winning traditions that he's built now this past year. Can they continue to head in the right direction and perhaps become a CUSA power? I know they're CUSA still, right? I think they're staying in CUSA. I can't recall if they're going to the AAC or not. Offensive coordinator is Dave Warner. 7 starters back on offense. 89th in scoring offense season ago, 87th in rush offense, 50th in pass offense, 70th in total offense. So would like to improve there. They still weren't a top half offense in college football. But guess why? I think they might. I mean, yes, they lose Jacob Cowing and Justin Garrett. Those receivers are gone. So they only have one returning wide receiver, and that's their slot, Tyrin Smith. They're breaking in new wideouts in Reynaldo Flores, Kelly Akharaiyi, and Walter Don gonna have to fill in. Tight end Trent Thompson is back though, and the big thing is Gavin Hardison, their quarterback's back. He's got over 20 career starts, and he's walking into his junior year here. So as Hardison goes, I think the Miners might be able to go, and I like what I see from the run game. I think they might have to lean on the run game a little bit more with the inexperience at wide receiver this year. And I'm talking about Robert Awatt coming back. He emerged. He came out of nowhere last year in like the second or third game and really made some big plays for them. They have their starter from the year prior in the first 3 games of a season ago, Deion Hankins. So that nice little 1-2 punch that they have, and keep an eye on that redshirt freshman, Willie Eldridge. I think they got 3 capable backs. They might have to lean on the ground a little bit more. They have 3 of 5 returning on the offensive line. That's always, it's not, you would like 4 or 5, 5 of 5, obviously, but 3 of 5 still decent. On the defensive side of the ball, their defense coordinator is Bradley Dale Peveto. They also have Mike Price's son at special teams coach for this team, but Bradley Dale Peveto, 53rd in scoring defense from a season ago, 42nd in rush defense, 37th in pass defense, 35th best defense in the country. Doing a fantastic job, an absolutely fantastic job. So the defense was the strength of this team a season ago, and I think it's going to be the strength of the team this season as well. 8 starters are back if you added a transfer that they added. All 4 starters are back on the defensive line. All 4, led by Jadarian Stewart. I think that's fantastic for CUSA. All right. They also return. I mean, for anything in college football, you want to return, the players that know your system. They also return their whole linebacking core. So getting that is fantastic. They got Breon Hayward back. He's the leader of the linebacking core. Well, I mean, one of the leaders. He transferred from Marshall a couple years ago and really excelled last year. Here's the thing: they lose both corners. They only have 1 starter returning. Coming into from a season ago. Now they have another starter that they added, a starter from Louisiana, in safety, Kobe Hylton. That could be huge, but they're breaking in new corners. Circle that for I think the biggest test for this Miners team. Kicker and punter are both back. So if it's a close game, special teams could play a factor. It's good to have some experience. Transfer portal. We're going to talk transfer portal. We're also going to talk what Las Vegas expects from the UTEP Miners and what we expect. We're going to go game by game on the schedule. And like I said, if you're watching on YouTube, you'll see the graphic there for the UTEP Miners. Subscribe to the College Football Experience on YouTube, youtube.com/the College Experience. Shout out to the SGPN graphics team. All right, I got to get us paid though, folks. I want to tell you that the College Football Experience UTEP Miners 2022 season preview episodes brought to you by Run Your Pool. Yeah, Run Your Pool is the home of competition, bringing sports fans and their social circles together to compete, connect, and make every game matter more. Run Your Pool offers every game you can think of under the sun. Pick'em, Survivor, fantasy pools. It's a one-stop shop for sports gaming. And let me tell you, we've teamed up with Run Your Pool. Yeah, for our official SGPN NFL Survivor contest, free to enter. Hop in now to reserve your spot. $500 cash plus $250 gift card to the winner. What are you doing? It's free to enter. Get in there. We're also brought to you by Sleeper. Sleeper is the fastest growing fantasy platform today with millions of players. You probably already have a fantasy league on there. I know I do. They just passed 4 million different users. So pretty awesome. They have this awesome over under game where you pick 2 or more players in any sport and you pick the over or under on their stat projection. And if you pick correctly, you can win anywhere from 2 times to 20 times the amount of money you put in. And with the NFL season right around the corner, Sleeper is the first sports contest game built into the fantasy experience. I really, this is a fantastic site. I mean, I use it. I have a fantasy league there. So on your mobile phone, join our listener group on Sleeper at sleeper.com/SGP. That's sleeper.com/SGP, and Sleeper will automatically match your first deposit up to $100. We're also brought to you by Trade Coffee. Trade Coffee connects customers to the freshest and best tasting coffee they've ever made at home by partnering with the country's best craft roasters. And let me tell you, it's expert tasted. Trade's got a coffee team that actually taste tests thousands of coffee. All right. They keep over 450 different kinds of coffee alive and ready to ship out to you every single day. There's no one perfect coffee, but there is a perfect coffee for you. And let Trade's human powered algorithm find it for you, people. Right now, Trade is offering new subscribers a total of $30 off your first order plus free shipping when you go to drinktrade.com/SGP. That's more than 40 cups of coffee for free, people. Once again, get started by taking their quiz at drinktrade.com/SGP and let Trade find you a coffee that you will love. We're also brought to you by Dave. Not Dave, your crazy neighbor that's just always partying. No, Dave, the banking app. All right. The banking app that can get you $500 instantly with extra cash. Yes, that's more money to fill your tank. That's more money to buy a wedding gift. That's more money to catch up on bills. Because let's be honest, we've all been in a jam at some point or another where you spent more money than you thought you were, or something came up. Maybe you didn't have insurance. You had to go to you broke your foot, figure that out, right? Maybe you just met a girl and you're just hitting it off and you're spending way more money out than you traditionally do each month. Well, we've all been in a jam like that where you just needed some cash. And look, it's embarrassing to call mom, dad, the brothers, sisters, whatever. It's kind of embarrassing asking your neighbor, "Hey man, you loan me $200?" No, don't do that. Just get Dave. All right. Download the Dave banking app. You can download it from the App Store right now. That's DAVE. And let me tell you, folks, there's no interest. There's no credit check needed. It's absolutely fantastic. Sign up for an extra cash account and get up to $500 instantly. For terms and conditions, go to dave.com/legal. Instant transfer fees do apply. Banking provided by Evolve, member of the FDIC. All right, we are back talking minor football. And let me tell you, Dana Dimel, old school when it comes to the transfer portal. They didn't bring in much. They got cornerback Josiah Allen from Sacramento Community College, who is penciled in as a starter, believe it or not. A little undersized, but they were really impressed with them in spring. Safety Kobe Hylton coming in from Louisiana, where the Raging Cajuns just won the Sun Belt Championship. He started for the Raging Cajuns, so that's a great get there. But they got to address what they lost, because Jacob Cowing, he was a 4-star get. They rate the transfers 4-star wide receiver get by Arizona. So Jacob Cowing heads out to the Wildcats. They also lost offensive tackle Cameron Cooper to the portal, tight end Luke Soto to the portal, wide receiver Tyrin Smith to the portal. They lost offensive tackle Trey Barboza to UConn. Wide receiver Miles Banks hit the portal as well. Linebacker Connor Hilsius hit the portal. Quarterback Jacoby Longo, or Longino, I should say, went to Lamar, and defensive lineman Gerard Joseph hit the portal. I think they lost the portal, but it's debatable. I think the wide receiver position, knowing that they were thin at it a little bit, that losing Cowing, if this was like NFL and you traded Cowing for your safety, you can make the case it's a wash. He was a starter on a team that almost went undefeated a year ago. So I'm going to say slight loss, because the defense was fine. The defense was really good. And if anything, you needed the offense to step up a little bit, and losing Cowing pretty huge, but I don't think it's the end of the world. I think there's a bright future in El Paso. I mean, that's another thing. When you think about NIL, what did we just see in college football? What did we just see with USC and UCLA? Their market dictated their value in a way. I mean, USC, yes, they've had the most draft picks in college football history to the NFL, right? But UCLA has had some struggles lately. They were valued because of their market in Los Angeles, right? Well, UTEP it plays in El Paso, Texas. The University of Texas El Paso is UTEP. That city, I should pull up quickly here where they rank. But I believe they have a shit ton of people. I think it's like 700,000 people in El Paso. So quickly pulling that up. But my point is with NIL, and imagine if you can build some winning culture here and just get the eyes on your team within your city. I think you might have something going here. If anything, with this new era with NIL and everything, you might be worried about the teams in the smaller destinations. But so El Paso, okay, doesn't chart in the top 10, but I do believe it would not be far from that. Come on, computer. I do believe it would be like a top 20 city though, which is interesting. I'm going to double check that. I'm pulling it up. I believe it is somewhere in I think it's just a big city, but man, if I could just, it stops at 10. So I don't know. Here we go. Where is El Paso? 22nd in America. All right. That's ahead of Washington D.C. That's ahead of Las Vegas. That's ahead of Detroit, Louisville, Memphis, Baltimore, Tucson, Sacramento. I mean, so you're talking. That's a big city. That's a big city. So, this team, if you just build some winning culture, we know Texas loves football. It's the same for UTSA, San Antonio. I mean, I say that too. I know they're both, rivals somewhat, but I do think there's a green light for opportunity with businesses thriving. NIL, it's A plus B equals C. Let's get into it, because if you're watching on YouTube, you see that graphic in the corner right here that I'm pointing to. 5.5 wins. 5.5 wins is what is projected in Las Vegas, which is good. I mean, it's good based on their recent seasons. Yes, they won 7 regular season games last year. However, prior to that, they had 2 1-win seasons. So just the fact you've gotten this up to 5.5 on their expectations, Dana Dimel's doing a good job. But let's hop into it, because I do think there is opportunity. So we know UTSA is kind of the team to beat in the CUSA, right? Besides them, you would say UAB or Western Kentucky. Well, they don't play UAB or Western Kentucky. But even with that, UAB's Bill Clark steps down, right? Health problems, right? It's a little bit of an unknown going on. I think they're still a talented team. Western Kentucky, they lost Bailey Zappi to the New England Patriots. They lost their wide receivers, all of them. I feel like, whether to pro or to one of them transferred to Penn State. They lost their Zach Kitney, their offensive coordinator, who's a stud, to Texas Tech. So I don't know that they'll be able to consistently be what they were from a season ago. Someone has to get the wins. All right. Someone, the rest, it's kind of like, it's hard to project. It's one of the harder conferences to project. So, by the way, the juice is leaning under though. 5.5 wins. It's plus 105 to the, I'm sorry. The juice is leaning towards the over, plus 105 towards the under, minus 125 to the over. So Vegas basically saying, we think this team's going to be 6-6. Let's hop into it, folks. Week 0, man, it's a great game. Absolutely great game to start the season. This game going to be on Stadium Network, 9:00 Eastern, 6:00 on the West. North Texas comes to the Sun Bowl. This is a conference game to start the season. Gigantic fucking game. Absolutely gigantic game. With like I said, with the uncertainty, the only thing I can kind of bank on is I think UTSA is going to be really good. I think they're going to be in the CUSA Championship. For my money, I would probably still say UAB based on the roster. But switching to a coach, we saw what happened with the Ohio Bobcats last year when Frank Solich late in the summer switched and gave it to Tim Albin. They struggled, and that had been a team that has kind of been bowling every year. Maybe that happens with UAB. Maybe there's a drop off. Regardless, UTEP North Texas, gigantic game, and one that I had North Texas winning this one. But I'll tell you this: after studying up on UTEP today, I do not feel nearly as good as I did previously. Now UTEP returns a bunch, but that game is in El Paso. I think it's a 50-50 game personally. I think it's a huge 50-50 game, and it's a huge, I think it's probably one of their bigger games of the season. I said I got North Texas winning this one. So 0-1. Then they head to Norman, Oklahoma to take on Oklahoma in Brent Venable's first game. It's good you get the week 0 game, because I don't think you're going to win in Norman, but it's always good to get a little you figure out a little bit about your team before that you get that test, because Oklahoma doesn't have a week 0 game. Then week 3, Battle of the I-10, taking on Jerry Kill in New Mexico State. UTEP absolutely waxed them last year. This one's in El Paso again. It's funny. On the New Mexico State preview, I said, no, that's a winnable game for New Mexico State. I think I took it as a loss. So give me UTEP to go 1-2. And then they head to Albuquerque University Stadium to take on New Mexico. Winnable game. They very well could be 3-1 out of the first 4 games. If they can get past North Texas, I almost think they'll probably be favored to be 3-1. I'll tell you this though, I think they're going to split on the New Mexico schools. I think they're going to go 1-1. So I got them 2. No, I got them 1-3. I got them 1-3 in September. Probably, I could very well be wrong about that. Then they host the Boise State Broncos. I don't think that's a very good matchup for them. I got them 1-4. You're thinking, Kobe, I thought you said you're optimistic about this team. Well, then you head to Jerry Richardson Stadium and take on Charlotte. You have back-to-back away here between Charlotte and La Tech. I'll say this. I think you go 1-1. So 2-5. You get a bye week, and then I get to my sling game of the season here. Look, it's college football season, which means you need the unbeatable coverage of Sling TV starting at $35 a month. Sling has all the big games on the biggest channels like ESPN, ESPN2, ESPN3, SEC Network, ACC Network, Fox, and the Big Ten Network, all for the best price. You can stream on any device, record up to 50 hours with included DVR space. You could pause or change your service at any time. Check out sling.com for special offers. Sling, the live TV you love for a price you'll love. Try us today. I think this is the most important game of the season because I think if you're going to go bowling, and by the way, like I said, this is the Conference USA, I would argue this year is the hardest conference to project wins. So even though I say 2-5, would not surprise me at all if they were 5-2. Because those are all 50-50 games. They get a bye, but this is the big game to me. Florida Atlantic. Florida Atlantic's been recruiting at a high level. Taggart's had coordinators in and out of there, like they're the Avon lady. And it's just it's hard to project what they're going to be this year. I think UTEP gets the dub here. I think they beat Florida Atlantic in the desert there. And then they host Middle Tennessee. I think they win that. So I think they all of a sudden 2-5, they're 4-5. Well, shit, the win total is 5.5. They're at Rice. Rice, I mean, their coach, Mike Bloomgren's coaching for his life here, but I favor UTEP 5-5. They get a bye week again, which is the benefit of playing the week 0 game. And then they're hosting Florida International. Now, I do think Mike McIntyre was a good hire by the Panthers, but I think it's a project a little bit. 6-5 before their season ender at UTSA. I think they lose that game, but 6-6, I see what Vegas sees, and I have a slight lean towards the over because I think it's more likely. I tried to build a case. I was originally on the under when we did the CUSA preview, but I think it's more likely that they beat North Texas or they beat New Mexico or they beat Charlotte than them losing to some of those schools like Rice or Middle Tennessee or FIU. So I do think you play the over here. 6-6, and potential. There is potential. Let me build you a case here. If they beat North Texas, that's why that game is probably the biggest fucking game of the season. Actually, if they beat North Texas week 1, okay, you lose. You grab that huge conference win. You lose to Oklahoma week 2. Then you get New Mexico State. You can win those. You can be 3-1. Hosting Boise, that's not going to happen. You're going to be 3-2, right? But Charlotte, Louisiana Tech, those are winnable. Wouldn't surprise me if let's just say 4-3. Then you get the FAU game 5-3, Middle Tennessee 6-3, Rice 7-3. You could have an 8-win season this year. You really could. Wouldn't shock me for 8 wins. I see 6-6. Would not shock me though if UTEP got 8 wins this year. I like what Dimel's doing. Can a receiver emerge? Can they fix the cornerback position with losing their starting corners? I think those are the keys to the season. But I like this, and don't let them build some winning culture in El Paso. I think good things could happen for this football program if they do it. Look at Boise State. I always use that example. Boise was like a junior college in the 70s. Look at them now. They enter FBS in what, 97? I think it was, maybe 96. And now they're cranking out. They barely have a losing season. They haven't had one in like 24 years or something, or since 98 or something. Maybe that could be UTEP. Texas got football players. I love it. And I love that rivalry with New Mexico and New Mexico State. And I kind of like the idea of building this UTSA rivalry. Let's go. All right. I'm on the over in the Miners, folks. Subscribe to the College Football Experience. We're on Twitter at TCE on SGPN. If you give us a 5-star review on iTunes, we'd certainly appreciate it. And if you do that, make sure you take a screenshot, show us that screenshot at TCE on SGPN on Twitter. And if we see it, we're going to enter you. No, once we get it, we're going to enter you in a raffle, a David Stern like raffle, which will be fixed, and you will win a gift card to our merch store. All right. That's a great fucking deal. All for just helping us out. You help us help you. Boom. There we go. All right. Check out the College Basketball Experience too. We're breaking down all team previews. We're deep into that. College basketball season just 80 some days away. Texas, what a great state for college basketball. Can UTEP continue to get that program going? All right. We've seen North Texas, they knocked off Purdue just the other year in the NCAA tournament. Stephen F. Austin's had success. Houston's like a blue blood now. Chris Beard is at Texas, made the NCAA tournament. Texas Tech and Mark Adams. You can go on and on and on. Abilene Christian, didn't they knock off Texas in the tournament? Maybe UTEP's next. All right. Check it out. Check out the College Basketball Experience. Also check out the College Baseball Experience. And the NFL season is right around the corner. Check out the NFL Gambling Podcast, brand new feed, and also the Sports Gambling Podcast is going through all 32 NFL teams. So if you're a fan of the Texans, if you're a fan of the Cowboys, if you're a fan of, Denver Broncos, all right, every team is out there. Go listen to it. They're doing win totals. You should bet the over, if you should bet the under, if they like a couple players for the fantasy football draft coming up. For most people drafting right around now, subscribe to the Fantasy Football Gambling Podcast. We can go on and on and on. So, and remember, folks, we do a DFS show here on the College Football Experience every week once the season starts. So next week there will be a DFS show. So, all right, folks, I can't wait to handicap this game next week for North Texas and UTEP at that awesome stadium. This is the College Football Experience. Also, check out the Discord channel. I almost forgot to mention that. Discord channel. All right. One of my favorite things is just being able to sweat out some bets, but also even if I'm not betting on a game, is to just say, if I'm watching this game and I was watching the Pirates game today, baseball, right? Home run on like the first pitch. Boom. I'm in the Discord channel talking about it. Right. Deshaun Watson suspended. Boom. We're talking about it in the Discord channel. We've already actually been talking UTEP North Texas in the Discord channel. So check it out. sportsgamblingpodcast.com/discord. I can't recommend it enough. I cannot recommend it enough. So, all right, folks, this is the College Football Experience, UTEP Miner style. Tink, tink, tink. You better start thinking about yours. And we out of here.
Thank you. Well, this is a great way to get started.
Sometimes it may be good, sometimes it may be shit.
It's so hard for me to sit back here in this studio looking at a guy out here hollering my name.
You start going all the way to your house and all you got to do is right here.
It's Division I football. It's a Big 12.
Get my limousine right on 85.
Nothing is over. Nothing.
Coaching, our coaching did a horrible job. The players did a horrible job. We got our ass kicked in the second half.